Good morning from the kitchen. I decided that I would like to do a quick watercolor sketching tutorial on this day that I head out for Italy because I wanted to talk about portable travel art supplies. So what I'm going to be demonstrating is a watercolor sketch using my Sakura Field box watercolors that comes with the water brush. So there's water in the barrel of this brush and you don't need a separate water container. And when you squeeze the barrel, the water comes down through the bristles and the water can be put into the paints and can be cleaning the brush. You can either use a paper towel or it comes with little sponges on both sides. And it has a tray that folds out for blending color as well as the lid. So it comes with this brush, but you can also buy additional brushes with different shaped nibs. Also using a mechanical pencil by Alvin, a drafting mechanical pencil, because then I don't have to sharpen it. I can just keep pushing the lead through. And I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, which is a black fine point pen that is fade proof and permanent. And you want to have permanent so that it doesn't bleed when you apply the watercolor, and you want to have fade proof so that it stands up for the test of time. My other essential tool is a kneaded rubber eraser. It erases the pencil lines without making crumbs on the paper. It's gentle to the paper, and you clean it by kneading it. So when it gets a lot of graphite on it, you just clean it by stretching and pulling and folding it over on itself. This one is from college. That is an old eraser. Truth be told, I just unwrapped it. I don't know how I managed to have it for that long and still in the packaging, but it's kind of nostalgic. So I'm going to be drawing these roses. I'm going to do a watercolor sketch of roses because organic items such as flowers, fruits, and vegetables are more forgiving in the drawing, because if every petal isn't perfect, it still looks like a rose. Whereas if I'm drawing a person or a pet, if the eyes, nose, and mouth are not proportionate and in the right place, then the drawing can look off. It won't look right, or it won't look like the person, and so that requires more accurate drawing skills. So flowers are forgiving and they're a good place to start. So the key is to draw what you see and not what you think you see. So in other words, our brain knows what a rose looks like and knows what the petals look like, and so our brain wants to skip steps and take shortcuts and just tell us how to draw what we have in our memory bank. So what you need to do is look very closely and draw what you see, not what you think you see, not what your brain wants you to think you see. So the idea is to keep your eye looking from the subject to the page to the subject, so that you get accurate drawing. So let's start. I'm going to start with the center of the petals and work my way out. I'm going to keep looking again from the subject to the page. I'm not trying to make a super detailed drawing because this is a sketch, but I do want accuracy so that the rose looks correct. I'm going to add in the leaves. From the piece that's been clipped off. I like the way the center of the leaves, when they started to wilt, from lack of water, they got these really nice yellow veins that weren't there when they were fresh, and it kind of is going to give me an opportunity for more color. So there's my basic sketch. The next step is to take the pen and redraw the lines. So I'm going to use my pencil sketch lines as my beginning point, but I'm going to continue to look at the subject and look at the drawing so that I can make any adjustments or changes as I do this permanent layer with the pen. Come down with a cold right before I head to Italy. Isn't that always the way? I went to Walgreens yesterday and got every bit of cold medicine and remedy that I could think of. Hopefully that will help me at least get through the pressurization of the flight. I'm giving character to some of my lines. I'm making them wiggly and not necessarily all straight to sort of suggest the crunchiness of these leaves. There. Now I'm going to use my eraser to remove the pencil lines. Okay, our next step is watercoloring in our sketch. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a dark background behind it and make the roses light so it stands up off of a dark background. So I'm going to start by adding some water, squeezing through my water brush and adding some water into the blues that I'm going to use for the dark background. Blending a couple of blues together to create a nice rich dark blue. Squeezing the barrel of the brush to add more water. And when I hold the brush on its side, I can get a wider stroke. And when I hold it more on a tip, I can get a finer stroke. Squeezing the brush adds more water that allows the color to blend out from dark to light. So there's my slightly dark around the edge background. That'll allow the light colors to really stand out. So I'm going to clean the brush by squeezing clean water through it and wiping it on the paper towel. And now I'm going to go to the green of the leaves and the stems. I've got some green mixed up over here already. And the nice thing about watercolor is you can make it wet again just by adding a little bit of water. So I've got very light green in the veins. Those are almost yellow, so this green I'm going to use on the stems. The key to watercolor is leaving the white or some whites so that it has little sparkly bits of white shining through. You don't want to cover everything. You want to leave little areas of white, sort of little sparkly lights, and that is a temptation to sort of paint it all in. So you have to sort of get the hang of leaving white. That takes a little bit of practice. Now I'm going to do the yellow veins. My yellow is slightly green, but that's all right. And maybe a little blue. Next up is the flowers, and I'm going to start from dark and work to light. So I'm going to blend up a shadow color and lay in the darks and then gradually work lighter. The nice thing about watercolors is if you layer over with the same color, they start to get darker. The layers will multiply. And there you have a nice, basic, quick watercolor sketch. I could soften some of these edges with a little bit more water. You can soften some of the blending. But I want to be careful not to eliminate too much of the white. Also, once it's dry, sometimes I'll go back in with my pen and add some embellishment to the line, such as maybe some cross-hatching in the leaves. There. And I'm off to Italy in a couple of hours, and this is my travel art kit. I put it all in one zip top gallon plastic bag so that I can easily toss it into my suitcase or my carry-on bag, and it is portable, and it is what I love to paint with when I travel.